Hello and happy Halloween, everyone. Thanks for joining us on TCM. I'm Ben Mankiewicz, here to guide you into the final hours of TCM's 2025 Horror Movie Marathon. I'd like to thank my partner in crime, Minily Good Impressions, Mario Cantone, for joining me once again for our annual Creepy Cinema Spotlight, 5 years now and counting. Every Friday night in October, Mario and I introduced a double feature, movies he programmed especially for the occasion, and movies that cleared the deck for his Bette Davis impersonation, and his Judy Garland impersonation, and his Joan Crawford, and his Liza Minnelli, and his Katharine Hepburn, and his Shelley Winters, who Mario somehow manages to weave into Brian De Palma conversations. Up next, a movie I'll handle by myself, a titanically influential horror film from 1968, directed and co-written by George A. Romero, Night of the Living Dead. Today, zombies appear to be everywhere. You can't even have an apocalypse today without zombies. They've even managed to ruin the end of the world. They've come at us in various inventive ways over the last 25 years, always relentless, always with that awkward gait, like being a condition of being among the walking dead is a pretty severe case of plantar fasciitis. On the big screen, we've seen them in the 28 Days Later franchise, in Train to Busan, in Zombieland, in Shaun of the Dead, and on television in high-end shows like The Walking Dead and The Last of Us. They're as ubiquitous on television as Mark Feuerstein. Look him up. That's a solid line. 57 years ago, when Night of the Living Dead premiered, zombies were not nearly so pervasive, though it's important to note they weren't new either. Victor Halperin's 1932 film White Zombie and the Val Lewton-produced I Walked with a Zombie from 1943 had previously explored the concept of the dead returning to life as ghastly, menacing creatures. But Night of the Living Dead defined the subgenre. It set the stage for so much of what horror has become, with an emphasis on gore, a tight budget, and a sparse cast. The story of Night of the Living Dead follows a disparate group of strangers trapped in a farmhouse trying to fend off a zombie attack in a small Pennsylvania town. This is George A. Romero's debut feature, and he made it for a little over $100,000 using a cast of unknowns and amateurs from the Pittsburgh area where he worked. Romero actually got his start in the TV industry producing short segments for the children's series Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which was based in Pittsburgh. Night of the Living Dead was initially shown in matinees throughout the country, common for horror releases at the time, attracting a healthy dose of teenagers looking for a Saturday afternoon scare. And because it was released just before the implementation of the MPAA rating system, it also attracted a sizable audience of even younger kids. So our nation's children could watch Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in the morning and then hit a matinee at Night of the Living Dead in the afternoon. From 1968, with a cast led by Dwayne Jones, this is Night of the Living Dead. That was Dwayne Jones as the hero in Night of the Living Dead. If you're a deep-cut horror film fan, you might recognize him from his next leading role. He starred in another cult classic, the 1973 vampire drama Ganja and Hess, written and directed by Bill Gunn. Spike Lee wrote and directed a remake called The Sweet Blood of Jesus, released in 2014. Speaking of remakes, it's nearly impossible to count all the remakes, the rip-offs, the semi-sequels spawned by Night of the Living Dead. As for official sequels, that's even complicated. If we're sticking solely with movies from writer-director George Romero, he directed 5 follow-ups, beginning with the darkly satirical 1978 film Dawn of the Dead, ending with Survival of the Dead from 2009. Ahead in our Halloween horror movie marathon, a chilling cult classic from 1962 starring Candace Hilligoss, Carnival of Souls, is next on Turner Classic Movies.
Next on TCM, Carnival of Souls, then House, and later Eye of the Devil. TCM sees dead people tonight.